What's going on, Cancer? I salute the divinity in you, and welcome to the Chariot Friends. Justin here. You ready to liven things up? The moon's in Leo. I enjoy the moon in Leo. I just enjoy, honestly, the times when it's fire energy, just because I have a lot of Leo in my chart, and so those usually form really beneficial aspects with the majority of my planets and places. So I'm just like, and we got some extra heat coming through. I'll talk about it. I got some great news. And we'll talk about that all in a moment. But if you are new here, again, my name is Justin, and know that when you're coming across this video, you're in sync with the moon, and she loves that. But also, this is a place for you if you happen to have Cancer in your placement. Sun, moon, rising, wherever. This one's for you. Even if you don't, you got a place of Cancer, and that's always an important space to look at. So this one's for you, too. And I do tarot card spreads based off this lovely luminary, the good old moon. And I'll talk about what sign she's in, what phase she's in, and when she happens to go void, of course, just all those lunar shenanigans. And just so y'all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what fits into your story, discard the rest, and everything will be dope, Cancer. Now, let's just jump into it, because I had a lot to talk about, and what a perfect day to talk about it, because depending on when you're watching this, and I'm going to shuffle your cards here, happy Mercury Day. Mercury is associated with Wednesdays. What day is it? But Mercury days, I feel like, are also a great time for just like definitely scheduling any sort of like maybe speeches that you need to give. Maybe you have like a webinar, maybe you have like certain interviews and you want the energy to be flow. Mercury's in Sag right now, so this can bring a lot of energy into your speech. Be mindful, just like over committing or just over delivering, just be mindful of that with Mercury and Sag. But this can be a great time too, I feel, just to even just get the mind kind of centered a little bit. The Mercury can be associated with all that mental energy. So just tuning into just seeing how your thoughts are running. Where have you been feeling inspired as of late? And that inspiration really going to come into the mix here. Okay. How interesting. Well, thanks, Spirit. I don't have to ask for a clarifier. You'll see why in a moment. But depending on when you're watching this, the sun is entering into Sagittarius at about 11:56 a.m. and that is Pacific time. And listen, where I am a big fan of Scorpio energy. I love them as people when people are utilizing their energy. However, as a season, that is a very active time for my chart whenever there are planets passing through Scorpio. So I'm, where a lot of growth comes through. Sometimes I'm like, you know what, I'm good on that. And I'm over the moon that the sun is entering into Sag, because I have some big things that I've been, one really exciting thing that I'm in particular looking forward to for this Sag season. So sun and Sag, if you see me just bigger than life, that's why. And so I'm going to be like that all month. So brace yourself. And this is a time where there's like, what else is the sun and Sag about other than just Justin being on one? This is a great time to just see what part of the chart the sun is entering in, because this is where you're going to be getting a lot of insights, where kind of like, I like to think of the sun as where it's like, yes, your life, your light, your vitality. And I also think that it's that higher, how we attune to that higher light, the things that we can't necessarily see, but the things that we know. Just because you can't look at the sun directly, or just like with air, you feel it and you know it's there. But this is a time I feel to get inspired, and I definitely talk about that more on my other channel, so definitely check that down in the description box below if you find yourself curious. But let's get into the lunar shenanigans, because on the 20th of November, the moon is going to be entering into Leo at about 5 minutes, at 5:51 a.m., and that's Pacific time. And she's in a waning gibbous phase. Now, when I think about Leo, their ruler is the sun. So I like that the moon it's starting off where we're still got a little bit of those Scorpio vibes, and then the sun's going to be like dip into the fire, and then I feel like the moon just really is going to come to life. And so I really think when we think about Leo, they are the fixed fire sign and they're masculine in nature. So there's this active energy that comes with Leo. And I feel like this would, especially when we have all this warmth that's coming, it doesn't necessarily even feel like normal, like kind of like Sag heat. Like this feels like an invitation for like a warm breeze, something to invite you outside. You've been sitting maybe cooped up in the house with the waters in Scorpio, and then something just kind of, you smell something just comes through, and it's just like, ooh, maybe just happens to be a warm day for the season, and just like, or just a really particularly nice day. I feel like this is getting out there and livening up the energy when I feel like we're working with Leo, because otherwise I think that Leo energy can, it's like almost like an oven, like, and it can just hold all the fixed signs have a way of holding things, and when it's Leo, things just get hot and they feel uncomfortable, and then you're trying to extinguish that fire, but it may not be in the healthiest of ways. And so that's something to kind of pay attention with Leo. Make sure to hydrate while the moon. Like I said, I have a lot of Leo placements, and I'm always drinking water. Like, you know what? While we're talking about it. But that's another thing that just kind of coming through there. But with the waning gibbous too, this can be a time of like conveying things, of sharing information, specifically what you've been kind of learning during this lunar cycle. But I feel like anything just in general, if you've noticed like the vibe has been down somewhere, maybe you know a certain song that tends to get everyone kind of turned up, or just something, or maybe you happen to just have that energy of being able to lighten up the space. I feel like everyone has that capacity in some sort of way to be able to, that charisma that comes with Leo. And I know it varies with, but still, I think that there's something, if you can even lighten up in anyone's day, I think that that would be a great way to kick off Sag, and really to use that sort of this fire, because we'll have quite a bit of fire with Mercury and the Sun being in Sag, the Moon and Leo, or the Moon and Mars being in Leo. So it is something to kind of help taper this energy now. Then Saturn's direct, so just some things to just kind of think about there. And I think that's all I got for you. So let's go ahead and switch over. And last little things, these readings that I do, they're not gender specific readings. So apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations. And before we jump into this thing, I'm going to ring this bell to bring some good vibes. So adjust your volume if you need to. But let's get into this thing. All right. So, very fascinating, and I'm glad we didn't have to get a clarifier for it. But we have more of this water energy here. But so there's that new moon in Pisces card, and I promise you see me shuffle, which is the attuned to the divine here. And then we have the first quarter moon in Cancer, which is a card of push through any insecurity. And I'm probably getting a message here again with just all this water of a needing to trust though that inner voice. And it's not to disregard other people and what they know, but there's something here about knowing what's right for you, and not letting someone make you feel doubtful. Like, especially if you're seeking some kind of help, you don't want to feel like you're like being forced into a situation where it's like my way's the only way here, and whatever that means for you. But there's something here about not applying any sort of pressure, and just like to allow yourself before you even make a move, which is very fascinating. That there's all this receptivity that's happening with all this heat that's kind of building up. I wonder if there's even this energy, and this may be something to ask yourself, if there's this, maybe seeing this dream or feeling this dream, But then when it comes to putting in this action here, that Cancer energy is feeling like, well, I don't want to get out of this attunement to the divine. Like, I like it just in the movies. I love this movie version of it, but the actual doing of it may not look as glamorous or may not even feel as promised. That's interesting. Let's get some tarot on this. Let's see what some past energy has been with this. What's been going on here? What are some things that may have come up? All right, so thank you, Spirit. So you have the Queen of Swords here. And so I'm thinking in the past there's been this, it's almost like the Queen of Swords has been trying to hone on to a target here. I just keep picturing like as soon as she gets locked on, it moves. And maybe that's what's been going on here. This like, you have like, let's say for an example, you have maybe like a goal that you're wanting to set, but when you think about all the things that you have to do, or maybe even like there, I'm getting like a competitive type of energy here, that maybe there's this sense of just overthinking something, over analyzing something, and pushing through, trusting the feeling, like just, and it may not go as planned at first, but it'll eventually get attuned to what you've been grooving to, whether this is maybe trying to go for a promotion, or maybe you're thinking about moving to a new country or new state or whatever that might be, continent, or maybe it's being bold to have a conversation with someone here. Let's get a clarifier with the Queen of Swords. It's like she's trying to look past something here, or see through something. Oh, and I like that. So, thanks, Spirit. So the Queen of Swords is clarified by the Four of Wands upright here. And this is a card of like celebration, of getting to where you need to be. It's like the card of you've held it in your head, and now we can celebrate that first step, like the initiation process of going through and yeah, like almost turning the insecurity, maybe even the nervousness, to a sense of thrill even. Maybe you're thinking about marriage and you're trying to figure out how that looks. Or maybe you're getting ready to make a big investment and that you're not quite sure, how that's going to yield. But it's like, because this is in the past, it's just, I feel like this is something that you've been maybe thinking about, but afraid to go in the fact that maybe what happens if this isn't the happiness that I see, or maybe that's even promised to me, possibly. Let's see how things are feeling presently. Okay. Spirit. So in the present, we have the Ace of Cups here. And this just gives me really an overflowing of emotions, of just like really kind of feeling a lot of things. Maybe you're feeling a lot of incitement, or maybe you were, or this could even be like trying to potentially chase a certain feeling to keep this energy going. Saturn has gone direct, and it's just like, oh, I've been needing to move this thing for a while, and now this thing has been getting hard. I have been maybe getting in the head. The insecurities have been going in. And not too long, speaking of Mars will eventually be going retrograde here soon, at the beginning of December. And so there might even be feeling like a drag or something here. And it's like, But right now, it just seems, especially since you've been getting this attuned to the day 3 of attuning to the divine, I feel like Spirit's been trying to give you some sort of nudge here. It's just like, quit thinking about a Queen of Swords. You know how happy it'll make you. Go do it. You know, not just to stay in this receptive mode, or just this like into staying in the dream. And maybe that's why it's coming out in this Sag energy, because now it's like, hey, the pot's boiling. Let's go ahead and move some of this stuff here. But yeah, let me get a clarifier with this Ace of Cups. Huh. Thanks, Spirit. So the Ace of Cups is clarified by the Three of Wands in reverse. And so, considering too that we've just gone back a step, this gives me this present moment of just not, it's just not quite seeing, it's not seeing something. It's interesting because these boats on this water here, the water even looks gold. It looks like lava. But it gave me this sort of like sand kind of look too. But my point is, it's that the sky is gold right now in this card, and the water may be reflecting that, and we may be mistaking a desert for an ocean. I know it's an extreme analogy, but it just seems that it's like we're feeling like something has been missed out on. That, or because things aren't moving as expected, maybe the transaction, maybe this is like a seventh house thing, and maybe we're waiting on like a business transaction or something to come through, and it doesn't seem as fast. That doesn't mean that it's not there. It just may be, things may be coming in this divine timing. So maybe there are other things that need to get done in the meanwhile, while other things are kind of cooking up here as well. And I think sometimes what can happen when you get in a lot of water energy is that it does get very subjective and gets very introspective, and it can get where you're just like, just sort of stuck in the, because you got a card of, with this new moon, it's sowing the seeds, and then the first quarter moon is the taking of action. But I'm even just this. I just got this message of just like, what if I get this thing and it's not what I expected it to be? Then what? And everything has a purpose here, you know. I'm even getting something with the Ace of Cups of just like, yeah, be mindful of what you're filling it with. Let's see what the future's looking like here. All right. So for your future energy, thank you, Spirit, you have the Two of Pentacles here. And I think that what's going to require is this kind of balancing thing that's happening. It's like it's like getting the thing started, and a need to keep the energy and just keep it moving. Because the Two of Pentacles, that's Jupiter in Gemini, and that's where Jupiter experiences this fall. That's where maybe the plan can seem too big, and it's growing out of like the idea of achieving that, the imagination of it, or just like it's just being inundated by the planning process of it, that it's like trying to start a or kind of light a lighter in the rain is what I'm getting here. And there's this need to find a way to balance the water and the fire, the two opposing elements there. And you got a lot of water that's coming through there. But let's get some clarification with that Two of Pentacles. And it may be a challenge, but I think that things will get into a flow. But these doubts and insecurities, thank you, Spirit. Two of Pentacles clarified by the Knight of Swords. The Nine of Swords. And Mars and Gemini. And I think that that's just this overthinking. I don't even really think that it's something that's keeping you up, or like where you can't go to sleep. Like it's weird. It's more so something that's keeping you up, I guess, as opposed to like living a nightmare. But there's something with this when the doubts come in, because there are going to be those moments. It's just like, what do you do in order to keep the peace here, to not be so mean, if there's any sort of like that internal voice is very negative, because you have all this gold here and then everything goes black. And I'm thinking there's this future energy of just paying mind of how you're with yourself when you're by yourself, and how you're staying in that flow, attuned to the divine here. And anything that is bringing you down, that's not those higher vibrations. We want to hear the ones that are, raising that light up there. Let's get a little advice from the sun. Oh, how lovely. That's a great message. Thanks, Spirit. So you have the Stars card here, which is a star card. And let's switch back over, because the Star card is about hope. There's this energy here of keeping the faith, remembering your North Star, even when things get dark. You've had these golden days here. We started off on a high with that Four of Swords. Got in a weird rut maybe in the middle there, and then it just then the curtains fell down, and then it seemed like everything just went pitch black. But hope, help, all those lovely H words, healing are coming, and they've already been on the way. And it's just like this again. It's part of the cycle of the Let me get the clarifier for the stars here. So that's Aquarius energy coming through. Okay. Thanks, Spirit. So the Stars card is clarified by the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. And so just when I feel like there's something where you think it may not be perfect. Mercury's not in this, because I was like, this is where Mercury's at its strongest, is Mercury in Virgo. But Mercury's actually in Sag, where I'm just getting this, just because something doesn't go as planned, that doesn't mean that that's not what's meant to be. It's just releasing that energy of expectation. And it's not that we don't do things for monetary gain, for resources, but I'm even getting this thing here is that you can't take any of this Ten of Pentacles with you. And I think that there's this thing here of remembering of why you started doing this thing in the first place. This is all a bonus. And it's not to just work, not to do something to your detriment. But it is, I think the healing starts where you get back to maybe just when it was a dream or something like that. But let that be, yeah, that's very fascinating. It's like, it may not turn out as as perfectly as you thought to, but it still doesn't make it any less a star, if that makes sense. I think I'm going to leave that there. Something to reflect on. But if you like that, if anything resonated with you, give it a thumbs up and share this. If you know someone who could get some nuggets of wisdom from this, and subscribe there, you star. Hit that bell button to get notified on all these videos each week or each day. And then last little bit, if you want to come over to my other channel, check out the other things that I do. Down, and you can see, I have all that stuff posted under this video here. Down in the description box below, I'm trying to figure out how to do this, change this ending here, make that more fluid. That's the nature of my problem. But let me get your surprise card or cards here so I can get you out of here. Okay, yeah, and that's kind of what I was feeling earlier. Thank you, Spirit. So you had the Pine Spirit card here, which is a card of purification. And that's what I was kind of feeling with this Star card, and clarified with the Ten of Pentacles. It's going back to getting your idea of this legacy, what you want to leave behind, getting it back to the basic of what it used to be, just a wish before. And there's something even just powerful in that. Even when you're thinking about like the insecurities that come up in that first quarter in Cancer. You may be taking something to the next level. You may have never done it before, but you've done something like this situation before. It's just like certain things, of course, have changed. But still, the rules kind of stay the same as far as like, tune into source. There's this guidance here that is backing you up, that you have more of the answers than you think you do. And I'm even thinking with how the scent of pine and everything just feels really fresh in this card with the snow here. And I'm just thinking of how pine needles smell and things. There's something here very kind of going back to that Queen of Swords that just, right, this realization, right. Let me get outside of myself for a minute. That time was what it was needed to be, but it's like, okay, I think I've got the lesson. I got it. So, yeah, I think that's what I got for you there. So, until next time, keep raising that consciousness and keep eyes on that moon. And I will catch you on the next one, Venus Day.